TG Geeks, episode 57, January 25th, 2016. Do I really have to grow up now? Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror, genre, you name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona, and not like the rest of the northeastern part of the United States.
And I'm Ben Raggington, also coming to you from, but I actually do love the snow when I'm looking at it on Facebook from Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah. We got a special interview for you, and then in the second half we got some discussion. So we're going to get to that interview. Hold your ears here real quick. And this week we have Pia Thrasher, actress, visual artist, and recently a filmmaker. Welcome, Pia.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Yes. So
it's good to hear you again.
Yeah.
Good to talk to you again.
Exactly.
I mean, it was only last August, but
October.
Was it October?
Yes, it was October.
Man,
yes.
I'm losing my time here.
Beginning of October at the Horrible Imaginings Film Festival, when we talked to Pia Thrasher and about her film, The Appointment. We're kind of here to talk about that, as well as some other things that she's got going. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Pia, who you are, what do you do, and why in the world are we talking to you this week?
Yeah, I would like to know that myself. Well, I am... Mostly I'm an actress, but I've always been an artist, and I'm kind of rolling it all into one now, since I'm mostly doing a lot of visual art, from paintings to 3D art, now even messing around with little video clips and stuff besides actual film stuff. And I've become a filmmaker kind of by necessity after not really getting the roles that I wanted to play. I would see fun stuff and go, God, I wish I could play something like that, and it didn't quite ever happen. And so I was tired of waiting and wrote my own script for fun of it. And never thought I would ever really make a short film. That was just at that point a crazy idea. And, but somehow the ball got rolling, and friends popped up and said, hey, we want to help. And it just happened. And now I'm working on my second one.
Amazing.
So The Appointment was your first short film then?
It was my first real baby, yeah. I mean, I've played around with short films before, but nothing serious, nothing with a real crew and cast. And I mean, I've made some silly little videos with friends before,
right.
But this is something that I wrote and produced and finally got it done. And I still can't believe it actually happened and it's finished.
We loved it. Didn't it win? Did it win some awards?
I thought it won something at the film festival.
No, it didn't win any awards.
Oh, well done. Well, it should have.
It should have. It was phenomenal.
Okay.
It was great.
I didn't expect to win any awards. Really not. I mean, it's my first film. I was just amazed that it even made it into some film festival in the first place.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with that. But I do plan on winning on hopefully some awards with my next one.
Yeah.
How long did it take to put the entire The Appointment together, your first film? I mean, from the moment you started writing it to the moment it was done, edited, everything. What was that entire time span?
Oh God, not quite a year, but close to that. At least somewhere between 6 months and a year. I can't remember exactly. The script itself, there was a few weeks, and then I messed around with it off and on, and then the whole pre-production thing. What took the longest time, actually, and a lot of work, was to get my Indiegogo campaign ready for to actually get some funds for my film.
Wow.
Because that needed its own little video, and it needed a lot of thinking and planning on, God, what kind of perks would I have for people? And that was so much more work than I expected. And that took a big chunk of time to do. And I had to do all that before I could even start pre-production on the appointment, because I had to make sure, I had the funds to actually get some things like insurance and things for the actual production later. So yeah, it's a process I learned a lot from, and hopefully it'll be a little easier on that part this next time. At least I can use my experience from that for the next time and what I learned, hopefully.
Right. So that sounds like that you have something in the works. Is that?
I do. Well,
you do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why we're talking to you here, is because you have decided to release the appointment online. Is that correct?
Yes.
So tell us about that. Tell us what's going to happen there.
Okay, what's going to happen is I'm going to release the appointment, which is 8.5 minutes long, on Vimeo, and what I have this little Facebook event page, that I invited people to,
Right.
and they can go to that page, and once the 30th rolls around, Sunday the 30th of January at 6 p.m. Pacific, West Coast time, I'll add the link of that video link, to Vimeo on that page, and that way people can click on that and they don't have to have a password. And I will also add that link to my official Facebook, the appointment page.
Oh, good.
Which is going to be, let me see, it's actually facebook.com, the appointment short film. So if you go to that page on Sunday evening, I'll have that link on there, and anybody that's not friends with me on Facebook can also, go to that link, visit it, and check out the video.
Good. And
hopefully like it and comment and spread the word.
And we'll have a little something that we can throw out there on Sunday as well.
Yeah,
we'll
definitely
do
covering it on our.
We'll do an
own
article
website.
for you and
Cool.
publish that, so that that will
The
be
more
out there
eyes,
for
the
you
better.
too. Exactly.
So what was it about acting that was such an allure for you? I mean, because you said that you'd started doing visual arts, and then you just kind of felt this gravitation towards acting. What was it about acting that made you say, I want to do that?
Oh, it was actually, the acting came first. The art thing is from just in general. I come from a family. Well, my dad is an artist. He's a sculptor, and so I was always surrounded by art. And he makes designer tombstones.
Oh wow!
Oh, okay.
That's really cool.
It's kind of
unusual.
Well, but it's somehow oddly appropriate.
Yeah.
Well,
It's very gothic.
It's funny because my nickname is Dia de los Muertos, and
Yes.
so a friend of mine suggested that name because he thought, well, geez, you have such a macabre sense of humor, and and I was like, yeah, I wonder why I always got drawn to this macabre and gothic and everything dark like that, and then my friend says, well, gee, the way you were raised and the way you were brought up. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, you were surrounded by tombstones. I'm like, oh, yeah, I've never even thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Because my dad, he made designer tombstones, so he basically had his shop in our house where we lived in Germany when I still was a kid. And this is in a small village in Bavaria, and he made stones where he would chisel in like praying hands or the Last Supper, like all the apostles and Jesus and all that. I mean, some really amazing artworks and some sculptures that that he made, and then people who had lost a loved one could come by the house and look at stuff and say, okay, we like this one, so just add the name and dates and all that. So, and sometimes they had custom where he started from scratch making a design that nobody else had or anything like that. So basically he had a lot of tombstones without any names in it yet in our backyard and front yard as for display.
Wow, man,
You're
your
just
placement.
surrounded by graveyard.
I'm
if
just
you will.
thinking, if your family had been in the United States at that time, you would have been really hot for haunted houses
Yeah.
during Halloween.
Well, yeah, back then we didn't have Halloween in Germany. It's catching on big time over the last few years. But let me put it this way. I was definitely the weird kid in the neighborhood.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
is there?
nothing wrong with that at all.
It looked like I lived in a cemetery, and people always thought, "Oh, that's the girl that lives in that house."
Yeah. It's that girl.
So then apparently you've had the acting bug for a long time. What was it about acting that made you say, I really want to do this?
That's what I was going to get to. My dad, he also played and directed little theater plays in our village.
Oh, cool.
Back, he even did some acting in his day. And so when I was a little girl, I was always watching my dad do that. And I think once I became a teenager, then I started getting more serious about it. And my school had school plays, and I thought, oh, this is fun, and I kind of discovered the whole thing, being on stage at that time. I think it was in 5th grade. And then my dad had these small plays that were usually comedy, 3-act comedies, and he had me in 1 or 2. Once I was a teenager, a little older, and I was just playing around with it at the time. But once I moved to the States, I was really smitten with movies, because I've always liked movies. And
Right.
and once I was like, oh, movies, I want to be in movies. And because that was just I've watched so many movies as a kid. It was always like my highlight was to go to a movie theater with my dad. And I've always loved movies. And so I wanted to be part of it, and I didn't really know how in other way then as an actor. And so that's kind of how I got started and interested in it. Once I came to the States, I was messing around being an extra on a few things. My claim to fame is I was an extra on Titanic.
Oh, really?
No kidding.
Well, that's cool.
Okay, well, now I have to see it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, back in those days, I had very bleached blonde hair, and since people back in the Titanic days, that was an unnatural hair color, so I was just one of the regular 3rd-class people. I had to wear a brown wig, and I looked really mousy, and when I had to run up on the poop deck, the part that goes up, I was so sure I'm gonna be seen, because I was right next to Leonardo and Kate Winslet, and but I didn't understand the concept of close-ups back then.
Yeah.
So when I saw the movie and I didn't see myself, I was so disappointed, and I was like, oh man, it's like everybody's gonna think I lied. But I actually met some friends that were extras there that I'm still in touch with today, and it was a really interesting and fun experience, and hard too. But I think you can see me if you freeze frame one of those scenes, but even I have a hard time finding myself on it.
We'll see you as a blur.
There we go.
As you're scrambling up.
So tell us about
from that set, because I was, you're not supposed to laugh, and if you were caught laughing, you could ruin a shot. And so we were always terrified of busting out laughing. And one time I had to turn, as we were running, we always had to, just run and be in a panic, and I turned around to grab my fake husband, and when I grabbed, and I did this every take, we did so many takes, and one time when I turned around to grab my husband, I almost punched him in the face. I kind of did.
Oh, dear.
And he was like, oh, and I started like, oh shit, sorry. So I panicked, and I buried my face in whoever was in front of me in their back, so I couldn't be seen laughing. I was terrified that I was going to get fired from the set right on the spot, but I guess nobody saw it, so it's all good.
Well, I can't believe you're the only person who's had little mishaps like that.
Yeah. So tell us about when did you move to the States? At what age did you move to the States?
I was 20 when I moved to the States.
What was the
Oh wow!
What was
So
the reason?
about 5 years ago, huh?
Sure,
5 years? Yeah, that's it.
little more than that, but yeah, it's been a while. I've been here for a while.
Oh,
Over 20 years now.
great. So, did your parents move as well, or did you all immigrate, or just you, or?
No, just me. I met a GI in Germany, and we got engaged, and I came over here.
Oh,
so
that's,
Okay.
the only
That's
one for
perfectly lovely.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
That's
We-
pretty cool.
We're still married to this day, so
oh,
yay.
good.
Happy.
That's always nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you had mentioned that you have a very macabre sense of humor, and of course, you did do a short that was very big at the Horror Film Festival, and
Yes.
one that Keith and I have said repeatedly how much we loved it.
It's one of our favorites from the film festival.
It's easily one of our favorites. But
Thank you.
man, I hate to say this, but I think a lot of the movies that we saw at that time were really amazing. But yes, The Appointment is clearly one of them. What was the idea behind that?
Behind the story.
Behind the
in
story
Yeah.
of The Appointment. Yeah, what?
Yeah,
where did you
without
come up?
giving it away?
Yeah, without necessarily giving it away.
Okay.
Where did that idea come
It
from?
was always was taking acting classes, and one of the scenes I was assigned had me play a hit man, a hit woman, and I had so much fun with it. It was such a dark, kind of funny scene where basically this woman hitman had to drive another hitman to remote location and shoot the guy, and on the way in the car they actually kind of bond, and my character felt kind of bad for having to shoot the guy and kill him, but at the same time he's like, hey, it's a job, I gotta get it done, and she does. And I had such a fun time with that. I thought this is an interesting kind of character, interesting dynamic to have to off somebody that you actually kind of like.
Yeah.
And so that was always in the back of my head because of that conflict, and the dark humor of it. And I just never knew exactly how to, write a scene for myself with a character that's similar. And it was in the back of my head for years until one morning it just happened. It just popped in my head, and it just all came tumbling out of my brain. And I wrote it down, made some frantic notes in bed, actually with my little scribble paper, and then that script was born within 2 hours, the rough thing of it, and then 2 weeks for the polishing, and then just some few drafts, and that was it.
Wow.
Yep.
That's amazing. And
it's weird how it happened.
yeah, it's just kind of interesting how some films and some stories kind of come together. So this story you have had at Horrible Imaginings, was that its first
No,
film festival? So
the first was at the Phoenix Comic-Con Film Festival.
really?
Really?
Yeah.
Last year?
Yeah.
Really?
How did we miss that?
Yeah, we met.
was-
Well, we didn't know about the film festival.
No, we
We
didn't.
only saw one thing at the film festival. So, and it was because we saw Neil Halford's Case of Evil.
Oh.
And that was only because a guy that I've known since the first day of fifth grade told me, and he's Neil's cousin. He said, "Oh, my cousin has a film at the film festival at Phoenix Comic-Con," and so we went and watched it, and
It
so-
opened our eyes.
Yeah, so that's kind of how we got associated with Neil, and he told us about Miguel, and then we wound up at Horrible Imaginings, and so now we're we're really
It
big
really
supporters
is.
now of independent film. It's amazing how the quality of independent film, and I thought your quality of The Appointment, it was just absolutely fabulous.
It's one of the most beautifully shot films, the short films that I saw at that time. I mean, it has such a rich palette to it.
Well, thank
in
you.
terms
That's
of-
mostly thanks to my crew. I mean, one of the producers and companies that helped me was Stephen and Elsa Mikkelsen of Bad Cat Films. They provided all the gear and a lot of knowledge and skills. And then Micah Minor with Minor Films, helped out too. So it's their expertise that really should get the credit for all that, because they made it look great. They
Wow.
really
It does. It's one of the most beautiful shorts, and what's so great about it is that the setting is so unbelievably misleading in so many different ways.
Yes.
I mean, it helps set the tone in some ways, and then it misleads you in others, and there's just a lot of misdirection that is happening because of the setting, and it helps to really highlight the dialogue that you have with your co-star. It's just I can't find anything wrong with that short.
Yeah.
It is just so amazing to watch.
Oh, well, thanks. Oh, wow. I keep still, thinking, I could have done this different or this different. But thank you. That's I'm glad you enjoyed it.
It's interesting that you just said that. I mean, now that you look back on it, are there things about it that you wish you had changed?
Well, there were some things that happened on the set that I was kind of forced to change last minute. There were some, because I made some storyboards for it actually, where the setup, how in the movie, the one you see now, they sit opposite of each other.
Right.
When they talk. And the way I had written it and had it planned was actually a little different, where they sit on a long couch on each end.
Oh, wow.
And she was going to actually take a pillow and shoot him in the side of the head.
Oh, interesting.
Instead of what, oh no, this is total spoiler. Oops.
Yeah, that's okay.
It had to be changed because we had so little time with that location. We didn't find out about the location that we had it for sure until like 4 or 5 days before the shoot.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a lovely location. I know that you said that you just happened on that location. So, and I looked for months for the right location, and because my husband is in real estate, he had that location. He showed it to me a few weeks prior. I'm like, oh my God, this would be perfect. This is like, I don't even have to change anything. But what is this going to cost us, and this and insurance and all that, because it was like an $8 or $9 million mansion. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. And so the owners, he had to talk to them, and they were out of town. And the guy who managed everything, I think the son, he flew in that Thursday, I think, or Wednesday, and he says, yes, come on by. And so that Thursday, my co-director and Elsa, the set decorator, set designer, and Jose Ituriaga, we all went there to check it out to see, what needs to be done on a Thursday evening, and then the shoot was Saturday.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
That's not much time.
No, but lucky for us, it was just minor things that we had to, move around furniture-wise a little bit, but everything else spoke for itself. The setting itself was just gorgeous and didn't need a whole lot of, stuff. And but we didn't get to do the couch thing because they had such a nice, expensive floor, and I was afraid with blood spray and a huge, brain matter mess, we would ruin the floor or leave stains, and we didn't have the time to make a fake floor and actually get the right kind of couch. And it was some other things too, but it just didn't happen, and that was mostly my fault. I just didn't plan this like I should have. That's I learned from that.
Yeah, well, I think it works with them sitting apart across from each other. I mean, the interplay is a little back and forth the way it works for me anyway.
Yes, it still works. I mean, that's not what I had first in mind, but when things get thrown your way, and also when you find out you only have one shooting day instead of two,
yeah,
then you have to plan, change things on the fly a little bit. That was another thing. We thought we had the place for 2 days, but it just suddenly turned into 1 day. There was some miscommunication somewhere, but so we had to get out of there that night and scramble to get everything done. And I still can't believe we actually finished it.
Wow.
That's because it's the crew. They all know each other, and we've worked together before in different projects, and if it hadn't been for them being like an oiled machine, that would have never happened.
Wow.
I mean, I would have never finished.
So you filmed that, and then you've did several film festivals, and you're now releasing it online. And why is that you're releasing this online?
Well, so everybody else can see it, and also there's another reason behind it, because I'm about to start a second Indiegogo campaign to get
Yay!
money. I mean, the money for funny money,
Funny money.
for the next film, and I want to let people see, hey, this is what I've done last time, and this time I want to do something the same quality or even better, and it's going to be longer, and it's going to be more like 20 minutes, so I need a lot more money and
Right.
help, so that's, I want people to be able to see what I've done before, and then judge for themselves, if I'm worthy a little donation or not.
Right.
Well, I would definitely say for anybody who watches The Appointment, and I think we were kind of lucky in that was the first one that we saw out the
Right.
block
Yeah.
when we were there. And it really set the bar very, very high for me personally, because it's easily one of the most professional looking films. Even if it's a short film, it's still very professional looking in terms of just the editing, the writing, the acting, the cinematography. It's just such a gloriously well put together short film that I would hope that anybody who sees it would be able to recognize the level of talent that surrounds it, and that people would, I hope that they would back you.
Yeah.
Well, me too. We're gonna be mostly the same crew again, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit more work. It's gonna be probably more like 3 shooting days, and then some pickup shots. It's a lot more cast in this one, and it's a horror comedy.
Right.
Now that's interesting.
So can you tell us anything about it?
I don't know how much I want to say just yet, but it's kind of a mockumentary.
Okay.
Also.
All right.
That's cool.
Okay, that's fine.
So I will let you know, I'm still trying to debate how much I want to reveal at this point, because,
Right.
I'm not planning on shooting this until end of April or May. And because I'm still getting my ducks in a row right now. The script is finished, and there's going to be a lot of social media involved. And I'll let you guys know all about it. And because I think you'll get a major kick out of it. This is going to be way more tongue-in-cheek, a lot more there's going to be a lot more blood in this one for sure, and there's going to be more really twisted humor in this.
Well, that's kind of right up our alley.
Yeah.
And hopefully maybe some scary stuff, not so much scary, but some horrifying elements, but I would consider it like a horror comedy.
Oh, cool.
The way it is written now, and you never know what happens on the set. But,
Yeah.
I've had a lot of fun writing this one, and I had some of my actor friends in mind for some of the major roles, and just writing it gave me the giggles, because I know I would just picture how they do that, because I know them well enough, and I can't wait to do this one. It's gonna be silly. I wasn't planning on doing a second film again. That just kind of happened.
Yeah, well, you never know once you get that bug, you
Yeah.
know, and things start to happen.
Well, it happens with a lot of filmmakers. I mean,
Exactly.
I've even heard Scorsese say that there have been times where he just was not looking for any projects, and then they just kind of landed in his lap, and he would do it anyway. Now, okay, so this is going to be your second horror comedy. So let me ask you this first. Now, we've already covered your macabre sense of humor and your background. Have you always had some kind of a fascination with just horror in general?
Yes. Well, the dark stuff, the stuff that kind of makes us really back away from something, is like, why? It's hard to explain, but I'm fascinated with stuff that really terrifies me. For example, earthquakes. They scare the shit out of me living here in California, but at the same time, I'm totally fascinated by them. As soon as I feel the slightest tremble somewhere, I jump to the geological websites, and I want to know where it was, how deep it was. It's just same with spiders. I'm terrified of spiders.
Oh, you and me both.
But I still look at pictures and and revel in my ickiness about them. Like, oh my God, that's so gross, ew, But I still have to look at it.
Right.
It's just, I don't know.
Didn't you do some kind of around? Was it around Halloween? You did 30 days of horror, some kind of drawings, etc.
Drawloween.
Yeah. Did you do a spider? Didn't you do?
I think I did. I can't remember.
I really your artwork that you posted online for that Drawloween was really fascinating. I loved your artwork. It was great. You're very talented.
Fun to do. I had a bunch of other friends take part in it, and it was always fun to see every day like what my friends came up with, and some my own. Some days they were really and some came out pretty good, and it was. I wish we could do that. Hopefully again this year. For Halloween.
Yeah.
So what is it about? Because it was the same thing with with The Appointment and with this next movie you've got coming up, and we saw this a lot during Horrible Imaginings. What is it about horror and comedy that make these two elements work so well together? Because it's really hard to make comedy sometimes fit in with other genres, but horror and comedy really go well together. I mean, we can go as far back as the Abbott and Costello movies, Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein or meet Dracula or anything along those lines. And we saw plenty of horror and comedy at Horrible Imaginings. You've done it. You're about to do it again. What is the allure? What is it about horror and comedy together that makes that such a really worthwhile endeavor?
Oh, for me, it's is laughing despite of what you see. It's just you're not supposed to laugh at some of these scenes, but you do it anyways. You know it's wrong, but you do it anyways, and that just always cracks me up. I love dark humor because, it's like, who are you? It makes you think like, what is wrong with you? Why do you laugh at this? It's not supposed to be funny.
Well, it's kind of a cathartic thing, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I knew. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't, but I've always been drawn to that kind of humor. And even the funny thing is like I've tried writing sheer horror scripts, like really just terrifying horror, and they always seem to turn into a comedy. I don't know why. I can't stick to just sheer horror. Maybe I just can't do it. Maybe it'll take more practice. Maybe one day I'll be able to do just a straight scary horror film. I mean, my favorite genre is a mix of horror and sci-fi. This is like, for example, that's one of my favorite all-time movies, Alien.
Yeah.
Such a, for me, a perfect blend of
well, that's
absolute
true.
horror and sci-fi.
Yeah, one of the scariest films I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I love it. I don't know how many times I've watched it. I collect stuff about aliens, and the artwork itself, Giger, just everything, and all the people that were involved, how it all came about. It's just fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so aside from your filmmaking, what else are you currently working on? I mean, you've expressed that you enjoy acting. Are you appearing in anything else at this present time, or are you about to appear in something else?
Yes, actually, there's a short film that I was cast in. It's called Country People, and it's kind of a drama mystery. It's a short film also, and I play a teacher, ex-teacher, and who's going to school basically, and it's a really cute. I don't know. That's something you might want to talk to the director too, because I think it's a really interesting story, and that is supposed to be filmed here in February soon. So it's only a day or two, I think. But yeah, I look forward to it.
How did you get attached to the project?
I auditioned for it. I saw a casting call for it, and it sounded interesting. And it was not your typical, I don't know, just there's something that sounded kind of interesting, and so I thought, all right, I sent them my headshots, and they had me do a online audition first, just on YouTube or like a private link. I sent them that, and then they called me in for a face-to-face audition, and I got the part. And lo and behold, there's another friend of mine that was cast in it as well that we've worked together before several times. So it's always good to see, other people again and again. San Diego is like a small film community. Everybody knows each other.
Well, yeah.
You're bound to run into other filmmakers or actors. So I look forward to filming it.
Yeah, Keith and I have been down to San Diego a number of times now, and we've run into a number of independent filmmakers down there. And you're right, it's such a fascinating little community down there. In fact, I think it's actually better than L.A. In that respect. I think San Diego's got such a wonderful independent artistic sensibility to it. So just so that people can get a sense of who you are, what is
Me?
What's some things that you like to do when you're not involved in filmmaking per se, or anything in the industry, shall we say?
Oh, okay. Well, if I had more money, I'd be traveling all the time. I love just going to places I've never been before. But since I don't have that, I kind of make do by going camping out into the desert, or just out into. I love nature stuff, but it's not the only thing. I just like seeing new things, experiencing new things and cultures. But I love getting out of Dodge sometimes, just away from everything, away from phones and TV, and just be in nature, out in the desert, and have campfires, shoot some guns. I know some people don't like it, but I don't shoot real things, just targets, and just have a good time with some friends around the campfire, and just have some drinks and let your hair down.
Oh, well, it sounds perfectly wonderful. So for anybody who wants to learn more about you, obviously you did mention that you have some sort of an online presence. I assume you do have a social media presence. How is it that people can go online and learn about all things Pia?
Oh boy. Well, one of the biggest things, I do write a blog about my acting stuff and filmmaking stuff, and that's I try to update it at least once a month, or just kind of with the latest news. And that one is where did I have that information? I had it saved somewhere. It is my I'll spell it out for you. It's peanuts.wordpress.com, but Peanuts is like my name, like PIANUTS.
Oh, Pia Nuts.
Yeah, peanuts.wordpress.com. That's my blog, and I'm also on. For my visual art, I have a page, and it's just Pia Thrasher Artist.wordpress.com, and I'm also on Twitter and Facebook. If you just type in Pia Thrasher, you can usually find me real quick. Otherwise, what else? Yeah, I am on IMDb. People want to check out my credits, that I'm not lying about my stuff. I'm on there too. Just type in Pia Thrasher. But yeah, my main ones are my two blogs. I try to update them and keep people updated on what I'm up to and what trouble I'm getting into or not.
Well, that's great. We look forward to the Indiegogo for the new thing that you're doing, and also we look very much forward to seeing the appointment online and getting to see that again, because we really liked it.
Really enjoyed it, and as soon as the Indiegogo campaign gets started, we will be sure to push it.
Let us know.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, Pia Thrasher, filmmaker, artist, and actress.
All around Renaissance lady.
Yes, for being with us today.
Well, thank you. I enjoy myself. Thanks for having me.
Hi, this is Ginny Koch, author of the Alien Catherine Kitty Cat series from Daw Books, part of Penguin Random House, and you're listening to Two Gay Geeks.
And yes, that means it's time for the birthdays. Here are a few selected birthdays from January 25th through January 31st. January 25th, Dean Jones.
He was such a staple in Disney films. Definitely, I would definitely say in the 60s and even maybe in the first part of the 70s.
Yeah, actually. And January 26th, actually also on January 25th, our friend from Technorama, Craig Stepp. It's
Craig's
his birth-
birthday is on Monday.
Yeah.
How about that?
So happy birthday, Craig. We'll tell you that in a little bit.
Hopefully.
And January 26th, Ellen DeGeneres. And also on January 26th, Bob
Just a bit outside.
Euchre. And also Maria Von Trapp.
For you Sound of Music fans.
Yes. January 27th, Patton Oswalt.
He's now forever Remy.
Yes, and James.
Go
ahead.
Well, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. too.
Yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., yes. And also James Cromwell on January 27th. And in the way back history, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was born on January 27th.
Oh, maybe I feel like I should be listening. I was going to say I was going to listen to Mozart's Requiem, but no, I'll pick something else instead. Something happier.
I already did that. January 28th, Elijah Wood. January 29th, Adam Lambert and Greg Louganis. And reaching in the Wayback Files, W.C. Fields.
Oh.
My little chickadee. January 30th, Christian Bale, Phil Collins, Gene Hackman. I feel like I'm insane.
I feel like I'm going insane.
And Dick Martin.
Oh, Rowan and Martin.
Of Rowan and Martin.
Laugh-In.
Yes, of Laugh-In, yes. January 31st, we have two Baseball Hall of Famers, Jackie Robinson and Ernie Banks.
Wow, and they're not just Hall of Famers, but they changed literally the landscape of the game.
Yes, Jackie Robinson was the first African-American National League player that actually came on the scene. So it's a tribute to Jackie Robinson and Ernie Banks that they made such a splash in history
Yes,
on
they did.
baseball.
Yes, they did.
And that's it for the birthdays this week.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad? Not me, that's for sure. How much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com? It's just a part domain name. They don't even have roadkill in a paper cup. That's why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
And you can go give a listen to Chuck and Craig over at Technorama by going to chuckchat.com. Occasionally, we make a visit too.
Yeah, God only knows who else will make a visit. I mean, and if anybody else shows up there, all bets are off.
Yep. And that is our listener feedback music.
And we've got some interesting feedback this week.
Interesting and epic, again.
Yeah, epic in ways we didn't quite expect.
Exactly.
First off, we did run a story last week, and we even talked about it on our show, in our last show, about how Jessica Jones was given the green light for a season 2.
Yes.
And we were all very, very excited about it. And I will point out that all of the stories that we are going to reference in our feedback will be in our show notes on our website for this episode at tggeeks.com. So if anybody wants to know, just go there.
Yes.
Anyway, yes, we did a big story about how Jessica Jones was given the green light for season 2 premiere on Netflix. And we don't quite know when that's going to be. It's still very much up in the air, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah, at least we have it. We know it's coming.
We've got it. And friend of the show, Scott Linder, simply had this to say: "Hooray! I love Jessica Jones."
Yeah.
I think we all do.
Yep.
And then also in our last episode, the first part of that show was a downer.
Kind of a downer, yeah.
Real downer, because we talked about the passing of David Bowie and so many other people. It's just recently, Glenn Frey just died recently. The ex-bassist for Rainbow and Dio just died. So it was a very, very tragic first part of the show. And friend of the show, Brian Arkle Weber, left this comment. The death of David Bowie struck especially hard because it happened just a few weeks away from the second anniversary of the death of Justin Carmichael, a.k.a. Jew Wario, who also played Bowie's Labyrinth character Jareth in the third channel awesome anniversary film Suburban Nights, as well as in at least one episode of his import video game review show You Can Play This, and cameos in other reviews. This probably won't mean much to more than 90% of your listeners, but Justin's suicide in 2014 struck the internet reviewer community, critics, and fans alike really hard. And just as an anecdote, I remember that. So you're not alone on that one, Brian. He was widely considered to be one of the kindest people in the community, always kind to people at conventions, and always ready with a hug and a kind word. Just a few days before he died, we'd even been talking about him doing a voice cameo in the Geologic Fancast for that year that I've been co-writing. It didn't work out, but he gave me his email address and told me to keep him in mind for future projects. And even before that, when I lost my job in 2012 and had to move back to California to stay with my family there, after having not lived there for 21 years, I made a comment to him about keeping an eye on the state for me while I was away. He lived in Colorado Springs. He responded almost right away to tell me that he chose to believe I'd get to come back someday, and that was our first interaction. So yeah, losing Bowie would have been sad at any time, but to happen this close to January 23rd, it had an extra punch. Apart from his Wario hat, there's few images people associate with Jew Wario than his Jareth outfit. On the morbid side of things, someone on Twitter shared an image of other celebrities who are or turn 69 this year. One of those people is Meatloaf. I hate to admit it, but I found myself thinking that if he dies, I hope he dies before Jim Steinman so that Steinman can plan the funeral, because that funeral would be epic. Also on that list, Arlo Guthrie. If he goes this year too, that means a lot of people will be hearing Alice's Restaurant at a time of year other than Thanksgiving for possibly the first time ever.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Alice's
wow.
Restaurant, yes.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, that really put a lot of things into perspective. And yeah, Brian, I actually do remember Wario's death. I did read about that. That was very sad. And at least you were able to reach out to him. But I certainly can understand how much that would have impacted you, because you had communication with him. And as we kind of talked about last week, anytime someone like a celebrity passes, I mean, it's always just horribly tragic. But when it's somebody that you've interacted with, it's just doubly hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get it. Okay, and then moving right along, we also recently posted an article about a new Pee Wee Herman movie.
Yay.
We have the teaser trailer for it. It is on our website, and again, we will have the link in our show notes for this episode, tggeeks.com, if you wish to see it. The movie is called Pee Wee's Big Holiday. It will be premiering on March 18th in Austin at South by Southwest, after which it will then be made available on Netflix. The teaser's a bit of a hoot.
I thought it was Pee Wee's Holiday from Hell.
Well, maybe that's for people who are not Pee Wee Herman fans. I kind of like Pee Wee Herman. There's something that's
twisted.
Well, yeah, very twisted, very demented about it. Anyway, we got a couple of responses for that. First, from friend of the show, Craig Stepp. He wrote, "I love Pee Wee. I am all in." And then we got a response from Keith, your sister,
My
Lynn.
sister, yes.
She simply wrote, "Yes, we love Pee Wee. Can't wait."
Yeah.
Now. Okay.
We found ourselves into a bit of a controversy
Yes,
here.
we did. Now, let me back up a little bit on this one. Good friend of the show, Tom Allred Gulbranson, wrote an article regarding Robotech the movie and what we might be able to expect from it. And we got some responses.
Some.
How would you say? Okay, there was a response from one person. How would you describe it?
We'll talk about that one in a bit.
All right.
Let's talk about this one.
Okay, so we did get a response from Sean from Edwards, or SF Edwards on Facebook. We've known him from the Slice of Sci-Fi days.
Yeah.
And he wrote this
He's also an author.
He's also an author, and he wrote this message saying, sorry to burst any bubbles, but unless Sony makes seriously nice with Big West, Bandai, and Studio New, then any Robotech movie will only be able to pull from the Mospita/New Gen section of Robotech. Harmony Gold screwed the pooch when they decided not to play nice with Big West/Studio New regarding renewed distribution of Macross and its associated sequels and merchandise. The recent court case allowed Harmony Gold to keep their distribution rights to STF Macross, but none of the sequels, and denied them the intellectual property rights to anything Macross. I'm a bit fuzzy on the details. In short, Harmony Gold cannot produce any new material based on the original STF Macross, its characters, mecha, or anything. Sony's only hope is to produce a Robotech movie that uses Macross in any way is to completely absorb Harmony Gold, including all of their distribution rights, then make serious nice with Big West. At that point, we might get a Robotech/Macross movie, but the heads of Harmony Gold are stubborn and won't let go of the Macross license without a fight.
And I just want to say, Sean, thank you for explaining this to us. We don't follow anime. I mean,
no,
to any extent. And we allowed Tom to write that article because he apparently does like anime and follows anime and had some information that he wanted to share. So we allowed him to write that article, and it generated our first hater.
Yeah, I'd say that. This is our first hate mail.
Yes. So, not yours, Sean. Sorry. Not yours.
No, Sean, actually, your response was very nice, very civil.
Yes.
I received it with a very good spirit. I thought what you wrote was very nice. Very nice.
Absolutely. And we appreciate that, and filling us in on things that we don't know about, because we have our own niche of stuff that we enjoy and things that, that we follow. Anime is not one of those, so we depend on other people to fill in that niche for us. Unfortunately, one person decided that they wanted to be not very nice.
No, and
so
we have to emphasize again, we do this purely on the side.
Yeah,
we don't do this show and this webcast. I mean, we don't do
not
this.
Professionals.
Well, I mean, in a paid sense, you're correct.
Yeah,
We're not paid professionals as far as TG Geeks is concerned. We do this in our spare time. Keith and I both have full-time jobs, so we can't vet every article that comes our way. I mean, granted, when I'm writing a story, I try to make it as accurate as possible, but whenever we receive a submission from somebody else, I'm just going to accept it as it is.
Yeah.
Now
we do a little bit of looking for it, just to make sure that it's reasonable. I just want to say that we do appreciate feedback. We don't appreciate people being mean.
No, I mean, we're happy to play nice if other people are going to play nice.
And that's why I said, do I really have to grow up? Because I really wanted to say something else at the top of this episode.
Oh, I did too.
But because it really was...
well, it upset us both. Let's be honest. It really did upset us both.
And we were trying to say, we even offered this person. This person is obviously... rather, I won't say obsessive, but that we obsess on things, in our areas, what we like and what we don't like. But as far as the Robotech and Macross is concerned, this person was very into that.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we are very much into certain things too, but we also know about being polite.
Yeah. And this person was not polite.
No.
And insinuated that we were pond scum in essence, without saying it.
He kind of implied that we were lazy.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't follow anime. We even made an offer to this individual to set the record straight. And he came back with, an answer that was, how do I say this politely?
It was equally unpleasant.
He was being a penis.
Ooh. Oh, my word. Okay.
Anyway.
Well, some interesting things did come out of this, though.
Yeah, the interesting thing is we did some more digging on that. And
I also say that Tom, who wrote the article, did a lot of digging. God bless him. Tom, I really appreciate you going to bat for us in this respect. I mean, he wanted to know what it was that was said, so I forwarded him all the messages that we received, and he was he very much took the high road in all of that.
Yeah.
And got some more information on it, and even directed me to the vice president of marketing, Kevin McKeever, I believe is his name. I can tell you yes, Kevin McKeever, the vice president of marketing for Robotech.com. And I was able to reach out to him and ask about any kind of information that he could possibly supply us. He said he would be getting back to us, will be on Monday. So as soon as
this is released.
The day that this is released. So as soon as we get any more information regarding Robotech the movie that is to be put out by Sony, we will issue out or publish another article that will hopefully clarify a lot of this information, give more specifics, and hopefully put to rest any further controversy regarding this story.
Well, we don't want to shy away from controversy, but we don't want to be
controversial
part of the controversy.
No, I mean, you even said that this story was controversial, and it was controversial in its response, not in its content.
Right, and we just want to play nice with people. But
exactly.
I guess if we have haters now, then
I guess it means we're making ground.
I guess we're doing something.
We're doing something right. The fact that someone actually hates us now. Yeah. Wow. I mean, I had to kind of let it digest for a little bit and process it. And then I thought and then I thought the next day, I guess we're doing something right because now we have a hater.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of, we don't mind feedback and we don't mind controversial feedback, but there's a way to be nice about it and not call us names and things like that. So we appreciate any feedback, and anybody that's listening to the show, if you take exception or you have a issue with anything that we say, or please let us know. I mean, we want to know, do you like something? Do you not like it? What are your feelings on it? Help us to understand if we don't understand the issue, or if we don't follow something. Help us to, appreciate it.
Exactly, just like Sean did.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought, I thought Sean, Sean, if you're listening to this, I thought your response was really above the board. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I greatly appreciated it.
Explained it to us. Yeah,
he explained all of the any fallacies that were existing in the story. You did it in a very nice and friendly manner. I cannot really say enough good things about the way Sean responded to that.
Yeah.
It was great.
So if you want to say something about our show, say something about our articles, you can certainly do that on our Facebook page as TG Squared Studios or TG Geeks Webcast. You can comment on the episodes, on the articles, everything there. You can comment on our YouTube episodes or at tggeeks.com, and you could receive a shout out on a future episode, or you can even call our listener feedback line and we'll play your comment on air. That's 469 TG Geeks, 469-844-3357.
This is Gareth David Lloyd, Yanti from Torchwood, Solus from Dragon Age, and Jacob Fitz from I Am Alone, and you are listening to the Two Gay Geeks.
Okay, I got a few little things we wish to discuss here.
Yeah, first thing, though, I do want to say, we didn't put it on the list, but we just kind of were trying to catch up.
Oh, yeah. Well, I did put a post on my Facebook timeline about this.
Yeah, well.
Wow.
The thing is, I think that episode that we watched was before Christmas, wasn't it? when it aired.
Oh,
I don't remember.
Good grief.
Anyway,
I think it might have been.
What we are talking about is CSI Cyber, and we caught up on all the other shows, and we just let the CSI Cyber episodes that were there just kind of languish in our TiVo, and we decided to watch one today. And the reason that we let them languish is because the show was going in a different direction than I'm sorry to say.
Oh, let's be honest. This should be called CSI Scorpion.
Yeah, CSI Scorpion. They jumped the shark with this episode with the planes, and we took it off the TiVo. We're not going to watch it anymore.
I don't think Ted Danson's going to watch it anymore. He certainly had no appearance in this episode.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think they've killed CSI, and they've killed all the goodwill that CSI, did.
Yeah.
So it's a shame because I enjoyed all the CSI programs with the exception of the last season of Miami, which we didn't watch.
Or like the last couple of seasons of Miami.
Anyway, so CSI was a good show. They kind of killed it with the CSI Cyber, and it's not due to the acting or any of the people.
No, in fact, I actually like the cast.
Yeah, I like the cast.
I like the cast. I like the characters.
The stories are just enough said.
I mean, yeah.
We're not watching.
We're not watching anymore. I mean, it's a shame because I really liked the one guy who keeps coming in to help out every now and then. He's a bit of a goofball, but the way they brought him in, I mean, that was the best part of the entire episode was him.
Yeah.
And the character interaction is fantastic, but really it's about what's the crime.
Yeah.
And I remember saying early when the series first started that because CSI crimes or cyber crimes are still kind of young, if you look at all of crime history, it's still a pretty new thing in comparison.
Yeah.
So there is not going to be not enough source material for this series to draw upon in an attempt to create credible stories.
Yeah.
And it went into the area of science fiction on this one, and
and unfortunately, this is another one of those series that was taking itself seriously, and then they went off the rails. So,
yeah, big time.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Let's just
we're
leave it
done.
alone. Yep.
All right. Well, we did get to watch something new, something that
Yes.
had a lot of people really buzzing.
Absolutely.
And from what I've read, it just kind of blew the ratings out of the water. That was Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah. It was kind of interesting.
It was interesting.
Some people said Legends of Meh.
Okay, so
I saw somebody post that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Someone posted it. Actually, it was Neil, wasn't it?
Yes.
Neil Halford.
Yes.
Yeah, Neil Halford. We
And-
interviewed along with his wife Jana some months
For
back
Case of Evil.
for Case of Evil.
Yes. So they are filmmakers. And
yeah, they're
they, you know,
filmmakers, so they
understand a little bit.
They have an idea, a good idea about story pacing and character development, story development. So for him to say Legends of Meh, he comes from a background that would cause me to take his opinion with a certain amount of weight.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I would have to agree. I walked away with a big meh on this one.
I mean, it was okay.
Well,
that wasn't terrible, but it was just okay.
I wasn't overwhelmed. I wasn't underwhelmed. I was merely whelmed.
Just whelmed.
I was just whelmed on this one.
Yeah. Whatever that means.
Yeah, but then I did discover something. That was part one. This is a two-parter, but I really believe that if you're going to be doing a new series,
either
I don't care if the characters
tell us it's part one.
Yeah, I don't
and
care.
that there's a part two, or run the two together, or make it 90 minutes, or whatever. But
right, I don't care if the series has a cast of characters that we are mostly familiar with. And yes, we are mostly familiar with Sarah Lance. We're mostly familiar with Ray Palmer and the guys, Captain Cold, Heatwave, the guys who comprise Firestorm. We're familiar with them. Okay, granted, but this is a new situation for them now.
Yeah.
They're going to be forced to interact in ways that they've never done before, and to create an ensemble piece, as this is, to introduce all of them again
Yeah, at least some kind of little something or other.
Yeah. Now, I was really thinking a lot about this, and I'm going to go back to something that we covered with our interview with Patricia Chica. And I'm sure that some people are going to kind of look at this and say, okay, this is pure New Age psychobabble that you're talking about, but I really firmly believe this, and that is energy. The flow of energy, and sometimes you can really get that in the way a scene is played. Energy, when a person is emoting, acting, whatever, you see it on a screen, there's a natural flow to the actor's performance. It has an energy to it, whether you pick it up subconsciously. And I've noticed that Arrow's been doing this too. When you try to cram too many story points or ideas, you start cutting off and cramming that energy, and what you end up with is like an ill-fitting jigsaw puzzle. And that does not create a very good sense of flow as far as the overall storyline goes. And that's what I was getting here. It felt like they were just trying to jam way too much in a 1 hour time slot, or actually less. I mean, I don't know. I think it's 47 minutes now, and like 11 and a half to 12 minutes of commercial. So what we got was something that was a little bit, I'm not going to say, it wasn't that was uncomfortable. It just had a really bad flow to it.
Yeah.
And I could not emotionally invest myself into this series. I really believe that the smartest thing would have been to do a 2-hour episode. Run both parts back to back.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I understand that, this is the CW. It's not like ABC. Okay, let's talk about what they did on Agent Carter. It was a 2-part episode, but they ran both parts back to back.
Yep.
And guess what? I felt okay.
Yeah.
I felt by the time we got to that episode, I felt like I had seen a complete story. With a very good development for the situation that Peggy is now in, for the same thing as Jarvis, the introduction of Jarvis's wife. It all made sense.
Yep.
All the way through. And I wasn't getting that with Legends of Tomorrow. I have not been getting that with Arrow either. It's like they're trying to cram too much into one story. And this is my big conundrum here. I'm not getting that with Flash. The Flash storylines have a very good flow to them. I find that I can emotionally invest in the story and feel a good sense of introduction, your complication, your resolution. It all flows very evenly.
Yeah.
And I would have thought that the same people would be working on all of these shows. So I come back with what the heck happened with Legends of Tomorrow. Now, we will obviously give it the 5-episode run, and I have every hope that the series will improve in terms of its pacing.
Yeah.
We'll just have to wait and see. I kind of get the feeling that maybe because this is an ensemble piece, they were trying to focus on too many people all at the same time.
I think they were.
And as we go
a little disjointed. Yeah.
Which I think did create for a very disjointed kind of feel. I'm hoping that as the series progresses, they can then start to focus on certain characters, give them the spotlight. Say, for example, I know there's an episode coming up pretty soon that's going to really spotlight Captain Cold and Heatwave in a really big way. So I would think that maybe Adam, Canary, possibly even the Firestorm, Martin Stein, and whatever his... I always want to say it's Ronnie Raymond, but Ronnie's dead. So the new guy who makes part of that, and I'm sorry I don't remember his name right off, put them in, kind of relegate them then to the background. Focus on Cold and Heatwave, and then rotate it around a bit. So hopefully that'll make for a better series, one that'll make a bit more sense. But right now, as it stands, I'm kind of a bit bummed. I would really like to know what more people thought about it.
Yeah. We want to know what you thought about Legends
So
of
anybody
Tomorrow.
who's out there listening to it, I really want to know what were your thoughts on Legends of Tomorrow. I'm not seeing a lot of comment on it. I'm seeing a lot of people say that they watched it. I saw a poll on, I believe, comicbook.com where like 80% of the people who were polled loved it. I would like to know what was it about it that you loved. I'm not going to discredit. If you really loved it, then I'm happy that you loved it. But I really want to hear from you people out there. What did you think of Legends of Tomorrow as far as this first episode goes? I'm very curious about it.
Tell us what you think.
Yes, please.
469-TG Geeks, 469-844-3357, or you can comment on our episode at tggeeks.com, any of the other places.
Yes. Now,
what is our line?
You name it, we talk about it.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about something different this time.
Boy, big time different.
Yeah. We both took Friday the 22nd off, and because my birthday was on the 23rd. So we did a little something, kind of made a little 2-day event out of the birthday celebration. And we decided to go up to the Musical Instrument Museum here in Phoenix, Arizona.
Actually, I think it's North Scottsdale.
Well, it's somewhere.
Somewhere.
There. Anyway.
It's off the 101.
It's off the 101, Tatum and Mayo Boulevard.
Yeah.
So it's up there north. And I have to say, oh my God.
Now, talk about being overwhelmed.
My Lord.
Man, I was not expecting this.
The Musical Instrument Museum is fantastic. If you are in Phoenix, it is worth an entire day, if not
easily,
2, to get through the entire thing. We were there, we had 3 hours, and we just scratched the surface. We did actually, they have a special exhibit going on right now, Stradivarius Origins and Legacy of the legendary violin maker. And they had several Stradivarius violins there, as well as a couple of Guarneri violins.
Which I knew you were very interested in because of you played viola when you were in school.
Yeah, and they actually had a pattern for a viola there that one of, I think it was Guarneri or even Stradivarius had used. I mean, it was the pattern, the actual pattern that he used for making viola. And they also, I know that the Guarneri violins were a favorite of Paganini. Paganini. And that was what his favorite instrument was, or instrument maker was. And they had a couple of Guarneri instruments, and just really an interactive display. It was absolutely fabulous. We spent actually about 45 minutes in that one little hall.
Yeah, it was not a very, very big room, but it was rich with exhibits.
Lots of exhibits. They have a thing that you wear, and you walk up, and they have these video presentations, and they start playing, automatically in your headsets. And the whole museum is that way. It is an incredible museum. We made it through, what was it? Most of Africa.
Yeah,
we just breezed through.
It's
literally.
a 2-story museum, and on the upper floor they have a history of music in all these different regions of the world.
Yeah, and all the different types of native
types of music too.
Types of music. What people have used to make instruments, picked up things, found things. It is just amazing. We breezed through parts of it, and we're gonna have to go back and see the rest of it. We didn't even get through Europe and the United States.
No, I mean, well, we just briefly grazed through. Scratch the surface of the U.S. section of it.
Yeah.
I really want to see the European because, the European music, especially in terms of classical, is just unbelievably rich.
Yeah.
But there was so many fascinating exhibits. There was one section where just in China, some of the native instruments that they demonstrated there on video were breathtaking. And I heard music that I never thought ever would have been possible in these different parts of the world. I remember humorously when we got to, I just made a beeline for the American section because I was just very curious as to what they were going to have. And there were a couple of spots that I just stood and stared at. I saw a Hammond B3 organ.
Yeah.
And being the big fan of Kansas that I am, I kept looking at this instrument thinking, this is the thing that the former lead singer Steve Walsh used to play on. And I kept thinking, wow, I mean,
Yeah, and Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Keith Emerson used to use that a lot too. Then there was a section on rock and roll, and then I was just beyond ecstatic because the video screen had 3 exhibits or 3 video segments that they were playing in a cycle. And the 2 of them, the first 2 were very prog. The first one was a live performance of Yes from their Close to the Edge tour, and it was a big instrumental break from Close to the Edge. You see a little bit of Steve Walsh just jamming on the guitar. Then the camera focuses on Rick Wakeman as he's playing his Hammond B3, his big organ solo.
Steve, you said
That's Steve Walsh. I mean Steve Howe. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, Steve Walsh doesn't play guitar. Sorry, Steve Howe. My bad. And then it was followed up by a live performance of Rush playing Xanadu from the video Exit Stage Left. And I was just like geeking out in the biggest way watching this.
Yeah.
It was such a joy. And then you grabbed my attention and pulled me over to an exhibit that I could have lost myself in, and that was for John Denver.
Well, actually, that's on the first floor.
That's right. That is on the first floor.
The second floor has all of the different instruments. The first floor actually has a section where you can watch them.
Well, there's a restoration, I think.
Restoration of instruments and conservation of instruments. They're restoring instruments, etc. There's a section that allows you to play some different instruments. There's a section on mechanical instruments or things that play themselves, shall we say. There was really some fascinating things in that. And then there was several artist exhibitions.
That's it, yes.
And they were different personalities in music that they had an exhibition of, and one was John Denver, and among others, but the 2 that really kind of spoke to me were the John Denver,
and then the John Lennon, Whoa!
Just tears.
Yeah.
That was the last
John Lennon
one
was the last one we saw before we left, and to me that was the best way to leave the museum.
Yeah,
the John Lennon video display.
Yeah, and they did Imagine.
Oh,
and it was
the way they did it. All I would say is that they recorded musicians, international musicians from all over the world playing their particular instrument to Imagine, and then it concluded with John himself, an old historical video of John at the piano singing it.
Yeah.
And the message, if anybody really questions the message, because I know a lot of people take the lyrics to Imagine, and they completely crucify the song because of the very first lyric, and that is, imagine there's no heaven. And immediately everybody thinks, oh, well, this is an anti-God kind of message, and that's not what John was trying to say.
It's just imagine peace
Imagine
in the
peace.
world. Imagine, a world
where we all
peace.
got along.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the world can live as one.
Yep.
And that is the final lyric on there. And music is one of the greatest ways that people can be brought together. People from different cultures can be brought together. The love and the beauty and the passion of music. And that was the message. And by having all these different musicians from literally all over the world,
yeah,
all playing their specific instrument, whether it be a guitar or drums or a violin. I mean, it doesn't matter. Different singers
right.
were also contributing to this from all
as
over.
As well as dancing and everything else.
It was such a beautiful example of what art can do and how it can bring people together. That was the vision that John Lennon had.
Yeah.
And to put that video out there, and it was placed in such a it was so placed in the entire exhibit that it would be the perfect thing for you to finish off with.
Yeah, it's prominent. I chose that as last. I went all around it, and then we chose that for last because it was just it felt like that it should be last.
It was absolutely beautiful, and we are really seriously contemplating becoming members.
Yeah, and doing a monthly
Seriously.
giving.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the museum also has performances, concerts that are. Some of the concerts are totally free, but they also have a really beautiful theater. Which, sadly, because we didn't have time, we couldn't go to it. We couldn't go inside the theater to see at least how the theater was designed. But I understand it's supposed to be like acoustically amazing, and they will put on the most beautiful concerts in there.
Yeah.
It was such a gorgeous, gorgeous experience, and it's one that I'm going to just treasure forever. And I can't wait to go back.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to go back. And we just never really took the time to go.
Yeah.
And I remember, my mom was always going there whenever any of my siblings would come to visit, and she always just raved about it. Everybody that I know from the Phoenix Symphony Chorus always talked about how amazing that place is, and now I get it. It is just one of the most incredible museums you could ever go to, and it's internationally renowned.
Yeah, and it's not that expensive.
It's
either.
not that expensive to go into.
And speaking of music, we had another opportunity to visit with Arizona Opera and the people that run Arizona Opera, and this time we actually got to see a run-through, a complete run-through, no stops and starts. It was not it was a dress tech rehearsal run through, shall we say.
Not a full dress rehearsal, but yeah, a dress tech rehearsal.
Yeah.
Their first run through of Carmen.
Yes, of Carmen. And we got to see that performance. And I will say that I'm looking forward to when we go to the performance to see Carmen on the stage in Symphony Hall. Arizona Opera is doing some great things. It is worth checking out if you are an opera lover, or even if you just want to learn about opera. Check out Arizona Opera. They're doing Carmen, and then Don Giovanni, and then Falstaff as the season closer. So check out Arizona Opera. It's definitely worth it.
I was very, very pleased
and
with
by
what
the
we
way,
saw there.
we saw the B cast too.
Yeah,
so.
we only got to
And
watch
it
the
was
B
like,
cast rehearse,
wow,
and they were.
If that's the B cast,
Yeah, what's the A cast like?
What's the A cast like? Exactly.
Yeah,
So-
I've got to admit, I'm really curious now. In fact, in a way, I'm kind of bummed because we're going to be seeing it on a Friday night,
and that's the
ACAST night, and I'm kind of disappointed because I would really like to see more of this B cast. They were amazing.
Yeah, they were. It was really
It was a real delight, and you and I both kind of walked out saying that the mezzo who was performing the role of Carmen was quite good.
Yeah, she's one of the better Carmens that I have heard, and I mean she's actually in their student program.
Yeah.
This is one of their I won't say one of her first performances, but it's an opportunity for her to perform on stage in a leading role, and she's part of their young performers program that they have at Arizona Opera. So check them out at Arizona Opera, azopera.org, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that I could really say about this, but I will just end it by saying that I think this is going to be an amazing, amazing production of Carmen.
Check it out. Few follow-up items we have, as always. We're still talking about Phoenix Comic-Con. This episode released on January 25th. So up until the end of January, you still have an opportunity to get Phoenix Comic-Con memberships at a discounted price. I believe at the end of the month they do go up. So check out phoenixcomiccon.com for updates.
And want to give a shout out to the Doctor Who Fancast Guide. They are on Twitter, and they are the Doctor Who Talking Who on Twitter. They release a Fancast Guide. I think it's every other day, and they are continually republishing our stories. So we thank them for getting our stories out there for other people to see.
Yes.
And you can see you can read the Fancast spot. Thank you very much. You can read the Fancast Guide by going to Twitter and following them at Talking Who. And also a shout out to the Arkle Times Post Dispatch News. That is the newspaper, or the cyber newspaper, that Brian Arkle Weber puts out. You heard his feedback a little earlier in the show. And on Twitter, he's known as Social Justice Scald. And you can follow him by going to Twitter at Arkle. And lastly, a shout out to the Facebook group, The Gay Geek, for allowing us to post our episodes on their page. And their URL is facebook.com/thegaygeek. And as always, a very special moderator to Jeremiah Reeves, who
special shout out.
Special
moderator.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Jeremiah.
I don't even remember what the heck I just said. That's just a special moderator to. Did I say special?
Yes, you did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Pay no attention to.
He's a very special moderator.
A very special moderator. Yeah. Pay no attention to that man behind the microphone.
Yes. Anyway, thank you, Jeremiah. And that's our up next time sound. Well, who knows what's going to be up next time? We might have an interview. We might have news. Who knows what we're going to have? So check us out. Stay tuned. Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode at tggeeks.com. We'll have several links on the page, and remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or the website at tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I am Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. I bid you peace.
Cheers.